We're going to get through a lot, so I want to get going. So first and foremost, Ace, I want to welcome you to episode 9 of the Droppin Knowledge podcast.
All right.
Today, I want to talk about creating and building business credit. I know it's the business that you're in. I get the question often because I help people with restoring personal credit. And so definitely want to get into a number of topics that I know will be helpful for folks that tune in and follow me and just people in general. So,
okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Ace. Introduce yourself, talk about what you do and how you got here.
All right. So I was born son of Byford, brother of. All right. So, man, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, started in the real estate game and just been building from there. My master's degree is in education, so I love teaching and training. And that just spilled into what I'm doing now, being a business consultant and helping people run their businesses more effectively and efficiently. And like you, I started off in the personal credit space and found that a lot of my clients were attempting to build their personal credit so that they could do things in business. And with utilization with the with a credit card, your utilization, they get that $12,000 credit card and burn it up. And, right away, their 720 is back down to 603 or something like that because of the utilization. I mean, 150 points. And so then I started looking into more things on the business side. And business credit to me is one of the things that levels the playing field, can really level the playing field for people.
Got it. Okay. So talk about that a bit because, I've had that question pretty frequently in regards to, hey, you know what? Do you do business credit? I want to build my business credit.
Yes.
Talk about, I guess, let's start there. What are some of the advantages to an entrepreneur, to someone looking to start a business? What's some of the advantages to actually building credit under your business versus personal?
Man, there's so many different advantages. The main advantage is separating your personal liabilities from your business. Being an entrepreneur forever, I had a business partner and we were importing and exporting computer components overseas into North and South Africa. And I told her, hey, you got to set up a company. And she didn't. And we ended up ordering some supplies and not getting paid for it. And the bank had already cut us some checks and we couldn't recover the money to get back. And she ended up being hurt personally because everything was in her personal name. So the main thing that you want to understand is that you're able to separate your business from your personal. And if you operate your business like a business, it keeps your personal from being hurt if the market turns down like it did or hit with the COVID-19, or if, you get sued. So that's one of the main things for liability protection. And then it's a lot simpler to build, I say simpler, to build credit in your business name than your personal credit, right? The time frame to build it is faster. For example, you know that, when you're working on your personal credit, you could have some fast gains, but typically it takes some time based on the reporting and how many stall letters the credit bureaus are going to send to you and things like that. So it allows you to really build assets faster when you're working with your business.
Gotcha. Okay. So I know for personal credit, you have obviously the 3 bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
Yes.
Are those the same bureaus that are on the business side? Are there other bureaus? Talk a little bit about that so I can have a better understanding.
So there are a lot of I don't know. I know there are over 20. There are probably hundreds of different bureaus, for business, just like for personal. Those are the main 3 that we know about. But the main 3 are done in Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax for business. Then there's another one that's up and coming and getting more traction is another one called Credit Safe. They report to 20 other bureaus. So it's a lot of bureaus out there. But the main thing is making sure your foundation is set up properly and that you have things in place so that reporting can happen in your business and it looks like a business.
Got it. Okay. So for anybody watching right now on the Facebook Live, feel free, if you know any entrepreneurs out there, you definitely want to tag them. Feel free to share this video. If you have questions as well, if you're an entrepreneur and you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section.
Yes.
Asa will tackle them as we move forward. We'll also share contact information if you guys want to get in touch with Asa directly to learn more about his program. So walk me through, Asa. Let's say I'm an entrepreneur. I have an idea. At the idea conception stage, should I be looking into business credit? Should I get the business off the ground first? When's the right time to actually focus on business credit?
Right. So I, in my past life, had thought that the more you operate under the radar, the better. And I've totally changed that based on maturity and just really seeing what goes on in the business world. Because look at what happens now. If you didn't have your business set up right, with all the money and grants that they're giving for payroll, you would miss out on that chunk of money because you weren't running your business like a business. So I feel that it can be, one of the top things you need to think about getting set up, because it's so important on how your business can grow. A lot of times we don't think, in good times, we don't think about what can happen, right? But who would imagine that we're in the times that we're in now? And you need to work on getting your money when you don't need your money. So right when you start your business, I say is when you need to start thinking about setting everything up so that you can begin to establish credit in your business name.
Got it. So obviously with your personal credit, there's nothing you really need to do to prepare, because as you're born, you get a social security number, and that follows you from the time that you start looking to leverage your credit for anything. For a business, though, as I understand it, it's a bit different, right? So even me starting a business, I'm going to need to do certain things, have certain things, set up certain things to even be able to get approved for business credit. So let's dive into there. What should an actual business look like, and what things do I need to have in place to actually be able to apply even for business credit?
Okay, great. So that's an awesome question. There are a couple of things. Number one, establish your business name. Right? Check with the Secretary of State wherever you're located to make sure no other companies have that name. Right? So that's number one. Establish your business name. A business address. You need to set up your business address separate from your home, because when you start moving to another level and start working on building relationships, they're going to pull up your name and your business name and your business address. You don't want it at your home. All right. So there are virtual suites that you can have where you have a business address. They receive your mail. Some of them actually receive your phone calls and things like that. But you need to have a business address that is separate from your home. And establish your entity. Get an EIN with the Secretary, not Secretary of State, with the IRS. Go to irs.gov and follow the prompts right there to establish a EIN, employee identification number, that is on your business. All right. So that is a must, because the EIN number is equal to your social security number that you have for your personal. Your EIN is your social for your business. All right. So get that set up. Any business licenses. Now, again, I used to not even think about doing that, but get everything set up. Your business licenses that you need for the state that you're in, the city that you're in. Also, a business phone number. Now, a lot of people don't have landlines anymore. People don't even know what landlines are for these younger generations, right? But you want to have a business number established, and that can be through, they call it voice over IP or Freedom Voice. There are many companies out there that will give you a business line, and you can also have that line forwarded to your cell phone. All right. Because once again, when you're in the application process to establish lines of credit with vendors, they're going to look at those things. What is the address? They're going to look at it. Oh, it's a business address, denied. All right. So you want to do these things to put yourself in a position so that you can excel. All right. Get your business phone number. Then you want to make sure that you have your website and your business. I say your business email address.
Okay.
All right. You can't have my business at google.com or yahoo.com or whatever. You need to have a business email address. And with Google, they have a business suite. I think it's $2 a month to have your business email address. All right, so you got to set that up as well. And of course, get a business bank account. And all these things should be done because when you get your business bank account, you want your business address on it and use your business line. So all these things need to be set up kind of prior to so that you don't have to go back and change things because you may miss something. And missing something can definitely hurt your ability to set up credit.
Gotcha. Got it. That's obviously a lot more than you need to do personally, right? To even prepare yourself to establish business credit.
Right.
I heard something about the address. You talked about the physical address and it being different from the home address.
Yes.
Do you have to? I think I heard that it can't be like a PO box, though. It can't be like a UPS store.
No.
Kind of talk about that, and talk about what actually works, right? What's acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah, from the address perspective.
Yeah, there a lot now because entrepreneurialism is a big deal now. 10 years ago there were no office suites where you could have a office inside of a building. You had to have a whole floor and things like that. So
right.
If you just Google virtual office or virtual office suite, they're going to open up so many companies, and it's going to cost you $99 to $200 a month to have a physical address. And I think it's a good thing because it puts you more in the mindset of running a business versus having a hobby.
It's deep. So can you set up and establish business credit with bad personal credit, or do you have to have good personal credit to establish business credit?
Okay, that's an excellent question. And the answer to that is it depends, right?
Okay.
No, you don't have to have good credit to have superior business credit. All right. So that is the beauty of it. Not only can you have a 420 personal credit score and still have lines of credit in your business name, you can have multiple businesses with 500, 50, 100, $250,000 of credit available. All right. So, but it does help significantly if you have good credit because, all the applications, if you do one online or on the phone, it's going to ask for your social security number, right? You don't put it. A lot of times, if it's a business application, it will have, business name and EIN. You want to make sure that if you don't have good credit, you don't put your social security number because it's going to damage your ability to do so. The way I run my practice when I'm working with my clients is we're setting their foundation up from scratch, meaning we're putting the business in position so that the credibility is on the business, not the individual. Right. So just like when you're building your personal credit, let's say someone comes out of bankruptcy and Chapter 7, and they're now wanting to build credit, right? They're going to have to get their starter cards. We call those tier 1 cards in the business credit world. And those are vendors that will accept the risk of an individual who may not be as savvy financially as another person. Right. So same thing in the business world. You start off with your tier 1 credit vendors, tier 1 vendors. That's your Granger. And I always forget all the names. It's a handful of them that you start with. And these are net 30 accounts. With the net 30 accounts, you charge something, $50, $150, $300. You charge it, and that vendor will then ship you whatever you purchased, and you will then have to pay within 30 days. Right. And once those things start to hit your business credit report, that is going to trigger other things. Right. So you need 3 to 5 tier 1 vendor accounts before you move to tier 2. And those all have to be reporting. So it's phases to it. And that's what is so awesome about it, because you can have no good credit score, no credit, and still build business credit.
Got it. So when we say credit, what are we talking about, right? I know that I do a good amount of studying and listening to experts like yourself in different spaces. And, specifically, I've heard about, real estate, right? Leveraging your personal credit to actually go out and get setting up an LLC and going out and getting money. Oftentimes, I think that's based on, credit cards, like getting credit cards and then pulling money off of those cards.
Right.
Kind of just talk about, there's a lot of ways, at least people assume there's a lot of ways to get access to capital, which is the end goal. When you're talking about setting up business credit, how am I getting access to that capital? Is that credit cards? Is that lines of credit? Talk about that a little bit in terms of what's out there and what's available for an entrepreneur.
Right. So I want to make sure I stay on point. If I get off point, bring me back.
Yep.
All right. So with business credit, it is a lot of that in the beginning. All right. You're getting your checks from your credit cards, and you're using those things to acquire assets that is going to produce revenue so that you can get lump sums and make money with the business. Or you use the credit cards, depending on the business that you're in. So yes, in the beginning, that's what it is. There are some vendors that will then extend your credit once you have, once you have trade lines reporting on your report. Everything it's a paper trail, right? How can you establish a paper trail that shows that this business is a risk that a lender will want to take on, right? And that's how it goes. So it's a lot of building credit to get you to the point where you don't have to use your credit cards to acquire assets, right?
Okay.
So it's just building the trade lines and the reporting history that is going to get you to the point where, yes, this entity is a risk we'll take on.
Got it. So you talked about in terms of building and establishing this credit, you talked about different tiers, right? You talked about tier one vendors. How many tiers are there? And what are and I'm sure it'll change from business to business, but what's the estimated time frame that one is in a certain tier before you graduate to the other? Or are there things in place like your business has to be generating a certain amount of money? Kind of talk about just the whole tier structure. So
that's a great question as well, man. You're full of awesome questions. It's all based on what's reporting. So with tier one, let's say you get a vendor today. You sign up, they say you're approved with the Net 30 account today. This is May 7th. Their reporting period may end April 30th. Okay, so now, depending on how fast you can make a transaction and pay it, and then that vendor report to the bureau, and it shows on your report, will tell you the speed to going to the next tier. It's all based on reporting. So my clients, they all know when their vendor reports, right? So they have their calendar and they're right there. So they know, okay, I made a transaction, I paid it, and now this should be reporting the next time I pull my business credit, right? So like I said, you need 3 to 5. I prefer 5 tier one vendors reporting before you go to the next tier, which is, of course, tier 2. And that is another 3 or 4 different vendors there. So it's all about how fast you can make the transaction and get it to be reporting on the credit report before you can move to the next tier. So if you're someone who is, very astute when it comes to detail, you're going to have faster reporting than I would, right? Because I may delay a couple of days before I actually make the payment or actually make the transaction, where yours is going to report faster. It's all based on the reporting and the individual, how fast they get me the data to know that, okay, you have 5 vendors, let's move to this one, because, and it's automatic. Once you have 5 vendors reporting, you apply for this credit, they see those 5 vendors are reporting, boom, you're going to be extended credit.
Got it. Okay. For whatever reason, our comments are popping up here, but I have it going on my phone as well. And so I see a question from Miss Erica Freeman. So she said, you mentioned a couple, but if you don't mind repeating. So she talked about, what are some tier 1 credit card companies that you recommend for building? Oh, well, this is a personal credit, but So what are some tier one credit card companies that you recommend for building your personal credit? Erica, I'll actually talk to you about that offline. That's my wheelhouse. So we'll talk about the personal credit piece.
Okay.
But question I have for you. So I'm an entrepreneur. I got some LLC started. I want to start down the path of building my business credit.
Mm-hmm.
So I connect with Asa, right? What are your services? What are your suite of services? What am I actually engaging for? Talk about your services and how you help me accomplish my goals, which is getting to the bag, as we say.
Okay. Awesome. Great question. So what I do is first an audit, right? We have to make sure that all of your information is a mirror image of each other. So let's say your company is Success Training Corp, right?
Okay.
And that's the name, Success Training Corp, CORP dot. Um, but you like to say, Success Training Group. You got to make sure. So the first thing is an audit to make sure everything is the same across the board. If it's not, then we have to send in a letter to get the change and the correction first. Once that is done, a lot of times it takes people some time to get the money together to have the office suite. Right. So we had to get all that together. And then once you have your office suite, then you got to send in a letter with the Secretary of State, wherever you are, to update the business address. Right. So all those things have to happen. And then we start for the tier one. Once we get through all that and everything is lined up, we apply for your first vendor. And it's, vendors that are out there to work with brand new companies. There's a company I'll give you guys some of them now. Uline is one, Granger, Wex Fleet. They're not really around here. Strategic Network Solutions is one, and they have a lot of online tools and just data and information that they give you. Quill. So these are just some that you can get in the beginning. Summa Office Supplies. Once you have those and they're reporting, and again, a lot of times you're not going to have things that you're going to buy that you really need, right? If I'm not a contractor, I don't need Granger, right? Or if I'm not a farmer, I'm not going to use that stuff. So you don't use that when there are like 12 different tier one vendors that you can use, right? And you just make some purchase. If you can't use it, sell it on eBay or something, right? And then once that is there, then we move to tier two. Again, I have a client and he's very slow. Right. I'm always on him, man. It's like, dude, come on. He's still with his tier one. And it's been over 7 months. That doesn't make any sense. But, I'm more interested in his business than he is, right?
Right.
Because I work off of testimonials. I work off of doing a good service for my clients. So I push them because I want them to go tell their friends, man, I just got $20,000, and it's not even secured against my name. I need that. I want that. So I'm a little more tenacious with making sure they get those things done because I want those testimonies, referrals, and I want their success.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Same thing that we look for as well, right? So for anybody watching that is interested, and we're obviously going to jump much more into what Ace is doing in the business and how he's helping individuals, but feel free to text credit to 833-709-1159. It's at the bottom of your screen, but that will get you in touch with Ace, and he will definitely work with you on building your business credit. So when you talked about these tier one vendors, right? And
yes.
Many times it may be things that you don't need. I'm actually in the process of that. I think I bought me a little counter clicker thing, right? Just to get something on the books. Does it matter? Do you need to be, can you be spending $10 here, $10 there? Or do you need to have a certain threshold that you're spending to make it look legitimate so you're not gaming the system? Or what's your thoughts around that, or kind of share a little bit more about that?
So there are mixed thoughts about that because business credit is all about you paying, right? So for Dun & Bradstreet, because that's the one that people really harp on, you have a score anywhere from 0 to 100. And most companies are closer to 100 individuals, right? You would have a perfect 80 paydex score if you paid all your bills on time. A 80. You can't get any beyond a 80 paying your bills on time. So let's say you call all 10 vendors and you pay them all on the 7th. You're
Okay.
going to have an 80 score. With business credit, you pay it a little earlier. The earlier you pay it, the higher your score goes up. All right, so that's the difference there. So to go back to your question, $50, $100, really, it almost doesn't matter, because all they want to see, a lot of vendors want to see, is just payments on the credit report and vendors actually reporting. All right. I don't like to have my clients do anything smaller than $100. Right. You buy something, you do it. Um, uh, I do a lot of paper and a lot of art supply kind of stuff because, we go through that like a hot knife and butter, but you
Right.
want to try to find things that you're going to go through, or you can just sell, and this is a hustle, right?
Right.
To build your business credit, your personal credit, it's a hustle because it's an end goal in mind. Right. So I just try to stay around the $100 because as you start building it, you want to have larger lines, right? For
Sure.
example, with the personal credit, you have a $1,000 credit card, $2,000 credit card, you kind of get locked into those kind of offers, right? But
Right.
if you're able to take your stimulus checks combined as a family and get a secured line,
Yeah.
or secure card at $5,000, that puts you in a different tier, right?
Yep.
So same thing with the business credit. You just want to be able to show the ability to pay, and the larger that you have payments or accounts, the larger you will be able to get in the end.
Got it. So from your experience, don't see any questions here, so I'll continue.
All right.
From your experience, does the type of business matter? Right? Is it real estate business versus a t-shirt business versus
Yes.
I do I do manicure and pedicures. Like, does the business matter?
The business does matter, and I'm a little tempted to pull this up on my.
Don't crash us here.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I'll stop doing that because I don't want to crash. It does matter. There are the word I'm looking for is escaping me. There are businesses that are higher risk. Anything real estate. You don't want to say real estate on your business name. Gambling, liquor, things like that. Right. And I want to give the information if somebody wants to really know what kind of business, they can get a hold of me later. But you really want to be, there are businesses that are higher risk in the industry, and you will get denied all across the board and have no idea. Yeah. So you want to make sure that I can, reach out to me and I'll get you some of the names and some of the business lines. But yes, there are higher risk areas.
Gotcha. Okay. And so let's say let's talk about, I know you're working through people and getting those testimonials, but tell us about maybe a success story that you have. What did that look like, right? What was the business roundabout? Just what industry was it in? What type of capital were you able to get them access to? And how are they, what did that come in the form of credit cards, in the form of a line of credit? Just kind of share a little bit of that so we have something tangible to look at.
Okay. It's for lack of better words, it's a consulting company. And I really, to be honest, don't know what this lady does. But it's along the line of family services, a family services type company. Okay. And she does not have the best credit. And we're working on getting her the better credit. And right out the bat, she had $11,000 within the first 45 days of vendor credit. All right. Okay. She now has, oh no, let me tell you about someone else. Okay. Let me tell you about someone else. So this woman is, she has almost $400,000 of credit in the form of credit cards, in the form of lines.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have put that up yet.
Now I'm distracted on my phone. I thought that was you sending a message. And she has had her credit for almost, I think, 3 years. But she is the most tenacious
of a person that I've ever worked with, right? She's someone who focuses, and her business is generating money as well. She almost bought a S55 last year, and because she was in there, and she just filled out the paperwork, and they gave her a line, and she was like, "Hey, I got it." I'm like, "So what?" Right?
Right.
And you know, Robert Kiyosaki, his game Rich Dad Poor Cash Flow would call that a doodad. I'm like, "Dude, do you have a car?" She was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What you need?" Right? So she almost has an excess. I know excess of $200,000 for sure.
Wow.
But was in the dealership and filled out the paperwork, and they extended her where she could have bought a S55.
Wow.
Or 550.
So
550. It was
550. Okay.
Yeah.
Question. So we got a question from Alicia Miller. She said, "Does a line of credit from the bank, does that get reported?"
Okay. So ask her in your business. Okay, because a lot of times you're not going to get a line of credit from the bank in your business until you build it up, or you have good credit, right? And you're personally guaranteed on that line of credit in your with your business. So you got to have a little more information about that. Typically, they don't. All right, because there's a different process that the company has to go through to begin that reporting. So I don't know, and I'm thinking of any banks that have reported a line of credit. So, and that leads into why our company, Entrepreneur Success Training, now reports to the credit bureau, right? So a client who is working with me gets started. We're going to report every payment to the credit bureau. So that again helps build your lines of credit. I also have access to helping you report vendors that you're dealing with on your business line of credit, on your business credit report. For example, let's say you have somebody who just bought a car, right? Yep. Let's say it's a real estate agent. The real estate agent has a consulting company in addition to being an agent. Yep. And you know, realtors like to have nice cars because they're driving clients around to nicer houses. Sometimes the clients get in their car, so they have a nice whip, right? I now have the ability to allow that agent, since that agent uses her car or his car for the majority of business, we can now report that car payment that you make on your business credit report.
Gotcha. Okay. Right? That makes, yep.
So I'm all about trying my best to put people in the position to have an unfair advantage, right? And having an unfair advantage is being able to report things on your report that you normally wouldn't be able to do. And that's one of the things. So to answer her question, I don't think so. It just depends on how the paperwork is completed and if that bank reports.
Got it. And she did specify, so she said on a business credit card.
Yeah. And again, once again, typically, if you can go into a bank right now today, if you have great credit, 700, 680, 690 credit, and open your business checking account and put your name on the line, and you're going to get a $20,000 credit card. No problem. Will that report? I'm not sure. But yeah, you can do that today. If she has the credit, go do it. Right. But it's still going to have that tie to you personally. And what I want people to understand is there are ways to build it up and establish your business credit that has nothing to do with your Social Security number. And that's, again, that's a mindset thing, KB. What can be done, right? We have all these ideas. We have these businesses that we have and these business ideas, but we don't do anything with them. Or we do something with them, but we don't do it to the fullest of our ability, right? Yeah. You run your business like a business. You can have so much money. There's so many real estate investors who don't report the cash flow from their 3 unit, right? Thinking they're getting over it. I ain't going to pay taxes on that. But now you can't establish yourself.
Can't leverage that.
Right. Yeah, leverage it so we can really do some things out in the world.
Right. Got it. So I got a question. This was a question that I pulled up a little bit earlier. So this is from Glenice. said, hey, Asa, I tuned in a little late, but can you talk maybe again about the different tiers and what are tier one businesses versus tier two businesses, et cetera. So I know that we did touch on that for the sake of time, and I want to make sure that I'm conscious of your time. Glenice, this will be online. This will be on Asa's page. I usually leave these out for at least 48 hours after we finish, and then it moves to podcast platform, Apple, Google, Spotify. But feel free to go back because we did talk in depth about tier one and tier two vendors. So I had another question. So from Natalie Wade, what's up, Natalie? She said, nice report. Every payment to CB,
Who?
please.
Say it again.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm reading her comment directly as she typed it. Is nice the name of a report, or is that that may be a typo? Yeah, I don't know. Retype. If you're still here, Natalie, retype that question. Let me make sure. One, if it comes up on screen, I can share with Asa exactly as you typed it. So again, we talked about. Give me the name of your business again, Asa.
Entrepreneur Success Training.
Entrepreneur Success Training. And so I don't know if you want to talk about pricing, and I don't know if you want to talk about services and give the full pitch, but you are welcome to do so. If you want them to contact you directly to get that info, they can do that as well. You let me know.
Well, I can talk about it. I want people to know. So I want them to know that prices are going up because I'm getting a little more flood than I thought I would. So I've just started marketing it heavily. Right. I'm doing more stuff on Instagram. I'm doing some stuff on Twitter. I'm getting it out there more, where I was just typically doing one-offs. Right. I mentioned it to somebody or somebody in my circle. But it's a 1-year contract. Right. $997 if you're paying full cash, or we can finance it. It's $250 down and $175 a month for 8 months.
Okay.
All right. And again, every payment that you make is going to be reported on your business credit report. That's something that we added a couple of weeks ago. And that has actually turned up the notch again with new clients, because, my job is to give as much value as I can from you dealing with me. Right. And that was something that I can personally impact and have something to do with, like the guy was telling you, who is just dragging his feet on doing what he has to do to get all his tier one vendors. Right. So now I can be a vendor on there and directly impact his ability to grow his credit because, he's dragging his feet. So, that's what it is. $1,000 basically. And we get you started. Right. And again, a lot of people I'm finding, man, don't have things set up properly.
Right.
They don't have it set up properly. So sometimes some people get caught up in the audit process and get frustrated.
Yeah.
Right. Because, it's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is. So we got to make sure those things are set up properly, man.
Got it. So I got a question from Tony King. What's up, brother? His question was, and I don't know if this is for personal or business, but I'll let you tackle it.
Okay.
It was, how do we get creditors that don't report to do so? And how fast will it reflect positive payments for the score to rise? And so I don't know if that, again, is a business or more personal. Tony, you might want to type that into the comment section. Does that come into your world as well in terms of?
Yeah.
Okay,
it comes in a little bit. Again, so we just added a layer to the business where we can start reporting vendors on your behalf, right? We work together to get it reported because a lot of times the vendors either don't report, right? Because not all vendors report.
Had a lady a couple months ago who is an architect, been in business over 18 years now. So this lady's an architect, been in business almost 20 years. And she was getting, she's trying to get financing on her accounts receivable. Man, accounts receivable financing is the most expensive financing that people can get. And I was like, well, why are you doing that? Right. And it's because she had no idea of how to get business credit. Right. So we immediately, when we started doing the reporting, started reporting stuff on her business credit. And she's sitting nice. She now has a 84 paydex score, and are getting offers now coming to her based on the new reporting that she has that she hadn't had. Just imagine, man, if she had this knowledge 18 years ago,
Right.
what would her business look like?
Right.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I go off on a tangent a little bit, but yes, sir. His question is, yeah, we can get those reported. Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Natalie came back in as well. Okay. She was just asking to drop contact information. So thanks for teeing that up. So you guys see it at the bottom of your screen here. Again, text credit to 833-709-1159. Asa Patterson is his name. I've known this good brother for, I was gonna call it from U of I, but I've known you since I was a shorty. So
right, how old are you? Right. Let's say.
Yeah, you probably met me, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a long time.
Yeah, Grove Heights. So it's been a long time, brother. But you've shared some tremendous information with us. I know I am going to connect with you so I can get on my journey. And again, this is good that we now have this podcast out here living, because I get questions about this all the time. So now I can point people directly to some information, right? Yeah. And it sounds like, I think the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from you is really the foundation, setting up your business properly. In terms of making sure that everything's consistent, you have the physical address and all of these things to be able to be prepared to be able to start to go down that path of establishing business credit. Is there anything that, for anyone who's thinking about starting this journey, a few kind of tips that you want to give them before we close out here?
No, the tips, it's just really no tips. The more you run yourself like a business, the more advantages you're going to have. The IRS tax code is set up for business, for entrepreneurs. The tax write-offs that are available to businesses are tremendous. Just get into it. Stop no cussing, right? Half butting it, right? Stop half-assing it. And do what you got to do to run your business like a business, because the more you do it, the faster you're going to see changes in yourself as well as your business. Just get into it.
Good, man. I appreciate it, brother. I thank you. Been wanting to get you on because it's such a hot topic, and it goes hand in hand with most people that are improving or looking to improve their credit. Probably the two biggest reasons is they want to buy a home, and the second is they want to start a business, right? And so you shared some valuable insight in terms of, even if you're not quite there, I don't want you taking money out of my pocket, but even if you're not quite there, you can still start that process of doing both, right? Doing both, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your personal credit's in place. You're still going to need to buy a home, those sorts of things. And so personal credit is always important as well. For everyone tuning in, this is our 9th episode of the Droppin' Knowledge podcast with Asa Patterson, talking about building and creating business credit. We have one more episode for season 1 that's coming next week with entertainment attorney Jamal Buchanan. We'll talk about the industry, entertainment, so any artists that actors, music artists, make sure that they tune in. So again, just similar to what we did with Asa, we can set you up properly, and you know exactly how you should be set up for success in that business. And then we're going to close out season 1. But when we come back in a couple of weeks with season 2, we're going to have some more amazing guests, more information, more knowledge is going to be dropped. And so Asa, once again, I appreciate your time, sir. Appreciate the insight, the information. And again, for anybody on that needs to get their business credit going, take action. I'm all about taking action. Take action. Reach out to Asa. He gets my official stamp, my Droppin' Knowledge stamp. He'll definitely get you right. And you're going to see me also talking about what he's doing for me, because I'm also going to go through the program as well. So I appreciate it, Noop.
All right, good brother. Good seeing you. Good talking to you. And keep this show going, man. I love it. I got some referrals for you too. We'll talk offline.
Perfect. All right, Noop. Yo.